Welcome, everyone, to a profound exploration of Stoic wisdom in this video. The Quiet Man, Power in Restraint. In a world that often glorifies the loud, the brash, and the impulsive, Stoicism offers a counterpoint. True strength lies in silence, self-discipline, and deliberate restraint. This isn't about passivity or weakness. It's about mastering your inner world to navigate life's storms with grace. Over the next half hour, we'll dive into the lives of Stoic giants, Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, and Seneca, whose stories embody this principle. Through their experiences, we'll uncover practical lessons to cultivate resilience, wisdom, and power in your own life. So grab a notebook, settle in, and let's embark on this journey together. Let's begin by defining the quiet man in the Stoic context. Stoicism, born in ancient Greece and refined in Rome, teaches us to live in harmony with nature, focusing only on what we can control, our thoughts, choices, and reactions, while releasing what we cannot. The quiet man doesn't seek attention through noise or react impulsively to provocations. Instead, he wields restraint as a tool of strength, choosing when to speak, act, or remain silent. As Epictetus, one of our key figures, said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This philosophy transforms restraint into a superpower, one that's as relevant today as it was 2,000 years ago. Think of a turbulent ocean. The surface rages with chaotic waves, but the depths remain calm and unshaken. That's the quiet man's power, inner stability amid external chaos. Today we'll explore how Stoic philosophers live this principle through riveting life stories, from emperors to slaves, and draw parallels to modern challenges like workplace conflicts, social media outrage, or personal setbacks. These aren't just historical anecdotes, they're blueprints for thriving in today's noisy world. Marcus Aurelius, the Emperor's Quiet Resolve. Our first story centers on Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor from 161 to 180 AD, often called the Philosopher King. His reign was no golden age. Plagues, wars, and betrayals defined his 19 years on the throne. Yet Marcus penned Meditations, a private journal of Stoic reflections that's now a global touchstone. What made him a quiet man? His ability to restrain emotions and act with deliberate calm, even under immense pressure. Consider the crisis of 175 AD during the Marco-Manic Wars. Marcus was on the Danube frontier, leading campaigns against Germanic tribes, when he learned of a shocking betrayal. His trusted general, Avidius Cassius, had declared himself emperor in the east. The empire teetered on the brink of civil war. Soldiers were divided, provinces in disarray. A lesser leader might have erupted in fury, ordering executions or launching a reckless counterattack. Marcus, however, chose restraint. He sent a measured letter to the Senate, expressing grief rather than rage. "I am grieved, not angry," he wrote, urging mercy for Cassius if he surrendered. This wasn't weakness, it was strategic. Marcus knew anger clouds judgment, as he noted in Meditations. The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. His restraint paid off. Cassius was killed by his own men before Marcus arrived, averting a larger war. This quiet power preserved the empire's stability. But Marcus's restraint wasn't limited to grand crises. His daily life reflected it too. Plagued by chronic illnesses, possibly ulcers or cancer, he endured constant pain yet rarely complained. He camped with his soldiers in freezing frontier winters, sleeping in tents rather than palaces, never boasting of his sacrifices. In Rome, surrounded by scheming courtiers, he listened more than he spoke. One story tells of a Senate debate where opponents hurled personal insults. Marcus remained silent, later writing, "To refrain from imitation is the best revenge." His quiet dignity disarmed critics and earned respect. During the Antonine Plague, which killed up to 15% of the empire's population, including possibly his wife Faustina, Marcus didn't succumb to despair. He focused on duty, organizing aid, maintaining order, and comforting citizens. Soldiers called him the father of the camp for his steady presence. His journal reveals his mindset. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength even in his final days. Dying of illness in 180 AD, he restrained fear, telling his guards, "Weep not for me. Think rather of the pestilence and the deaths of so many others." For us, Marcus's story offers lessons. When a coworker provokes you, pause before responding. When life throws setbacks, focus on what you can control, your attitude. Restraint isn't suppression, it's a choice that builds character. Try journaling like Marcus did, reflecting nightly on how you handle challenges. His quiet resolve shows us that power lies in measured actions, not impulsive reactions. Epictetus, the slave's unshakable calm. Next, let's turn to Epictetus, born around 50 AD as a slave in Hierapolis, modern-day Turkey. His life is a testament to restraint under oppression. Crippled by a childhood injury, legend says his master broke his leg as punishment. Epictetus could have been consumed by bitterness. Instead, he became a philosopher whose teachings shaped Marcus Aurelius and countless others. His story as a quiet man is one of inner freedom despite external chains. Epictetus's core teaching is the dichotomy of control. Some things are up to us, and some are not. Restraint means focusing solely on what's in your power, your judgments, desires, and actions. As a slave to Epaphroditus, a cruel secretary to Emperor Domitian, Epictetus faced daily hardships. One chilling anecdote captures his restraint. When Epaphroditus began twisting his leg, Epictetus calmly said, "You will break it." When it snapped, he added, "I told you so." No screams, no curses, just serene acceptance of what he couldn't change. This quiet defiance was his power. Freed later in life, Epictetus founded a school in Nicopolis, Greece, where he lectured on Stoicism. His student Arian recorded his teachings in the Enchiridion and Discourses. Epictetus practiced restraint in speech, famously saying, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." He embodied the quiet man, using silence to observe and learn. When exiled by Domitian in 93 AD with other philosophers, he didn't protest or flee in panic. He quietly relocated, turning adversity into opportunity. His school thrived, attracting students from across the empire. Epictetus's encounters with the powerful highlight his restraint. In one discourse, he advises, "If someone speaks ill of you, do not make excuses, but answer, 'He was ignorant of my other faults, else he would have mentioned them too.'" This humor and self-awareness disarmed critics. Another story. A wealthy student bragged about his status, expecting praise. Epictetus replied, "If you think you're impressive, you're not free." His quiet words cut deeper than any rant. For modern life, Epictetus's lessons are practical. Facing a toxic boss? Restrain the urge to gossip. Focus on your work. Stuck in traffic? You can't control the delay, but you can control your reaction. Try his exercise. Each day, identify one thing you can't control and let it go. Epictetus died around 135 AD, leaving a legacy of inner liberty. No man is free who is not master of himself. His quiet strength shows us that restraint can transform suffering into growth. Seneca, the statesman's measured wisdom. Our third Stoic is Seneca the Younger, born in 4 BC in Corduba, Spain. A statesman, playwright, and advisor to Emperor Nero, Seneca's life was a tightrope walk between power and peril. His Stoic practice of restraint saved him repeatedly, until it couldn't. His story as a quiet man shows how restraint navigates both luxury and danger. In his essay on anger, Seneca writes, "The greatest remedy for anger is delay." He lived this principle. Exiled to Corsica in 41 AD by Emperor Claudius on false charges of adultery, Seneca didn't rail against injustice. Instead, he wrote consolatory letters and philosophical works, restraining despair. His quiet endurance led to his recall 8 years later to tutor young Nero. As Nero's advisor, Seneca faced a tyrant's whims. Once Nero ordered his death over a minor slight. Seneca calmly prepared, but the order was rescinded. In letters to Lucilius, he advises, "Let us train ourselves to be able to endure the loss of everything." This mindset defined his restraint. Seneca's wealth as a statesman could have led to extravagance, but he lived simply, criticizing excess. One story, at Nero's lavish banquets, Seneca ate sparingly, declining delicacies to focus on conversation. His restraint earned respect, even from rivals. But his ultimate test came in 65 AD, implicated in the Pisonian conspiracy against Nero, likely falsely. Ordered to commit suicide, Seneca didn't beg or flee. He gathered friends, opened his veins, and dictated philosophical reflections as he died. His wife Paulina joined him, but Nero spared her. Seneca's final words, "Such is the foolishness of mortals. They allow the least valuable things to slip away." His quiet exit was his ultimate act of power. Seneca's life offers modern lessons. In a world of instant reactions, think social media feuds, pause before posting. Delay anger, as Seneca advised. His restraint in wealth and death reminds us to prioritize what matters, character over chaos. Modern applications, the quiet man today. How does the quiet man thrive in 2025? Look to figures like Nelson Mandela, who endured 27 years in prison with Stoic-like restraint, emerging without vengeance to unite a nation. Or consider Satya Nadella, Microsoft's CEO, whose quiet empathy transformed a struggling company through thoughtful decisions. In your life, apply these lessons. When provoked, count to 10 before responding. Journal nightly like Marcus to reflect on your reactions. Practice Epictetus's dichotomy of control. Let go of what you can't change. Follow Seneca's advice to delay anger, especially online. Try this Stoic exercise. Each morning, visualize a challenge you might face, a rude email, a stressful deadline, and rehearse responding with restraint. This premeditatio malorum, premeditation of evils, prepares you to stay calm. Another practice, limit your words. Before speaking, ask, "Is this necessary?" Restraint in speech builds influence. People listen to those who speak thoughtfully. The quiet man's power extends to relationships. Restraining judgment fosters empathy. Pausing before arguing deepens understanding. In leadership, quiet confidence inspires trust. Think of a manager who listens before deciding versus one who dominates. Even in personal goals, restraint is key. Delaying gratification, like saving money or sticking to a workout, builds long-term success. In closing, the quiet man, power in restraint isn't about silence for its own sake. It's about strategic calm that amplifies your strength. Through Marcus Aurelius's resolve, Epictetus's defiance, and Seneca's wisdom, we've seen how restraint turns chaos into control, weakness into resilience. As Marcus wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. This journey has shown that the quiet man's power is accessible to all. Whether facing a tough day at work, a personal loss, or a heated debate, restraint is your tool to rise above. Start small. Pause once today before reacting. Reflect tonight on one moment you controlled your response. These small acts build a stoic life. Thank you for joining me on this exploration. If these stories inspired you, share one lesson in the comments and let's keep the conversation going. Until next time, stay stoic, stay quiet when it counts, and unleash your inner power.